Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a little bit of news regarding some things that are coming our way. I don't do a lot of these anymore because there's so much of it on YouTube that I don't like to flood it and basically just be repeating a lot of the same information. But with the information that I was reading today, I just sort of felt like it might be worth sharing some of this because it's pretty awesome. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future updates and future guides that will be coming down the road. Link to Patreon can be found in the description below. All right, so the first piece of information I wanted to bring out was BlueBird Simulations working on the 757 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. The 757 is actually one of my favorites. I loved it in X-Plane 11. I think it's just a fun airliner to fly. It's got that both big but not too ridiculously big. It's not quite as big and powerful as the 747, yet it has a lot of that really sleek design to it that you would see in some of those bigger aircraft. This has been a very awesome and exciting piece of information when I first found it. I miss flying the 757. I had a great time with it, as I said before. It's got a lot of challenging aspects to it, yet as they will say here, I really enjoyed this part, this little piece of detail here. This will be a mid-complexity level aircraft, which will be several layers more complex than the default airliners. No Control E to start the engines here. However, they're still keeping other simmers of all skill levels in mind while designing this. I really hope that they keep that as an optional thing. I hope that there's a chance to also offer some progression as you become more and more familiar with the aircraft. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it is nice to see that they included that information because it does still set the expectation upon release. And like I said, I don't know if this is sort of a generalized statement like this is going to be the entire aircraft or if it's just the basis of the aircraft itself. I found the 757, and I can't remember who it was that developed it. I don't think it was a PMDG. No, it wasn't PMDG. I can't remember who it was. I'd have to go back and see what version I had. But I do remember the systems being fully modeled and functional. I remember everything being exactly as you would see in the real aircraft, obviously with simulation limitations. But when they say this will be a mid-level complexity aircraft, I'm hoping that that still has, they're showing that the system's complexity is just one part of our goal, but I'm sort of, for the flight model, they said we have dedicated airline pilot who is putting in a lot of time and effort. So when they say mid-level complexity, I'm wondering, is this mid-level complexity based on the aircraft itself, or is this mid-level complexity based on the simulation? And again, I'm really going to be interested to see if there's a chance of progression, because it's sort of like I do with the helicopters here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. The second I jump in one, I crank that difficulty level right to max. So I'm really intrigued to see what that means. But again, very nice that they set the bar there and we can expect or what the expectation upon release is going to look like. Okay, so now in the next piece of news, we've got a couple of Mad Dogs coming our way, and based on what I'm reading, I haven't seen any release date for either one yet. I'm hoping that maybe I missed that. But we have the MD-80 here, the Mad Dog 80. This is going to be a very fun aircraft again. It is under beta testing, which is a very nice piece of information. Anytime I see betas, and this is why I'm starting to put these videos out again, is because alphas and pre-alphas and things like that, they're great to follow up on, and sometimes they're fun to see. I know a bunch of other YouTubers who do great. I would recommend Pilot Stud. If you guys are interested in following up on the news on a daily basis, he's very, very good about putting out news as quickly as it launches. I tend to wait a bit longer for this kind of stuff, but the MD-80 has entered a beta stage, and betas are always very, very exciting for me because that means that we're coming close. All right, and at that point, that's when you sort of perk my ears up when I start hearing the words beta, because it lets me know, all right, this is really happening. It's on its way, right? The MD-80. Very goofy looking airplane if you guys have ever seen it. And what I mean by goofy is it literally does look like a Mad Dog. Let me find us a picture here for you here. MD-80 plane here for those of you who may not be familiar with the MD-80. It just sort of very odd looking. Let's do this. Come on. There we go. So a very long fuselage, as you can see here. Oops, what did I do? Gosh darn it. Me and my filters. Very long fuselage, very wide wing base. Looks almost like a paper airplane. But again, it's a rear pusher. So completely different flight dynamics that you wouldn't think that there are, but there actually are some very interesting features when you're, especially in transition between landing and takeoff, that I feel exist with the pushers. I think it's really... You just have to sort of quote unquote feel it for yourself. But this is a really exciting plane to see coming back to flight simulation. Again, I saw this one in X-Plane 11. It's either X-Plane 11 or P3D. It's been so long since I've been in P3D, Lord only knows. Anyway, so again, in beta, we're looking at fully functional cockpits here. There are 2 different videos here that you can take a look at. This link is to FS Elite. I will make sure to have a link to all of this in the description below. But make sure you guys click on these. You can see both takeoff and landing and generic footage of the aircraft in action. So it is really super exciting, again, to see this stuff coming into beta. Beta is a good sign, guys. That means that things are right around the corner. Now, right around the corner can be a month or 2 months, but still, when you think about, how quickly did the first year of FS 2020 fly by? See what I did there? Boom, psh, I'm here all week. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, staying on the Mad Dog series. Okay, next, staying with the MD family, McDonnell Douglas family, we have the MD11. This is a gigantic freaking plane. I don't know if you guys have ever seen one in real life, but they are huge. Obviously not as big as like a 747 or, the A380, God knows. But it is a very large, beefy looking aircraft. I mean, let's see if we can find a side shot. Look at the size of these engines, though. These engines are freaking massive. When you look at the comparison, I mean, it looks like you could throw a Volkswagen in it. Now, the very cool part that I find about the MD11 and the way that it's going to be released for Microsoft Flight Simulator is the fact that you will have a couple of different variants. And let's scroll down here and talk about some of this here. So first, upcoming features. Guys, feel free to pause the screen and take a blurb through this. Also, obviously, links to everything down in the description below. What I'm interested in is, though we do not have a release date that I was able to locate, we do have pricing, and that's a good thing. Again, that means that things are coming together. When they've established price point, that means they've said, all right, here's what the end product's going to look like. We have a general idea of what the labor and time's going to look like. We can start throwing a price on how we value our product. That's a good sign. Again, that's a great indication that things are coming right around the corner here. So we do not have a release date yet, but we have price points. So we're looking at the base package, cargo or passenger. And this is something that I really enjoy about the way they've done this. You can buy either or. If you just want to use this as a cargo plane, a cargo hauler, do freight with it, you can just buy one or the other. And then the expansion, and this is what I like, the one you did not purchase already. So there's no particular order you have to purchase them in, but if you want the expansion, it's a mere $15 more. Now that will absolutely be my preference. I'm going to just buy the whole shebang. The MD11, like I said, this is a very large aircraft. It's a very powerful aircraft. I could absolutely see a lot of fun with it. I'm sitting here already picturing, UPS freight, FedEx freight, things like that. Although I got to admit, FedEx, you guys kind of are upsetting me lately. So you're kind of on my poopy list right now, but hopefully we'll get off of that list soon. But I could totally see a bunch of really cool air deliveries going in, doing some overseas travel with this kind of an aircraft. So it's going to be really exciting to see this coming down the line. The MD11, again, I think the biggest thing that I'm stoked about, it's unique. You got that tri-engine build to it. It doesn't look like all the other airliners. And don't get me wrong, the A320, the A330, the 737 series that are coming out, and we're going to be talking about that in just a minute here. They're all great aircraft, and they're all absolutely unique in their own right, in their own different ways. But when you're flying them in the sky, or when you're doing a video or content, or taking your screenshots, at the end of the day, the twin-engine aircraft just kind of, in their own way, they kind of look similar to each other. You know what I mean? You sort of get that same feeling when, one picture the other. Where when you start getting into the uniqueness of aircraft like this, you got tri-engine, something that's really making it stand out. I don't know. I just find it a little bit more exciting when I hear about things like this. So I truly am very, very excited for this aircraft. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. So let me know what you guys think down below. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, this one I found on the Microsoft forums, and this one took me a little bit longer to figure out because I am not as familiar with these aircraft as I wish I was. But if we take a look at this image, I think we figured out what it is, and then obviously doing some further digging, I did figure out what it is. We have black box simulations rolling out the BN2 Trilander. And again, this is another tri-engine aircraft, and one of the biggest giveaways here for people who didn't catch it. You know, if you come down here, it actually took me a second of reading it. But like you have this guy here, you know, saying, you know, black box is another aircraft. Can't tell what it is, but I'm looking forward to it. And someone says, reckon must be this one. And there's a big clue in the screenshot. And that big clue for you guys is this right here, rear engine fail light. So, yeah, I have to agree. Given the fact that they're following their BN series, this is an absolutely, it's a guarantee. So this is the BN2 Trilander. I didn't even know this plane existed prior to this. I had to do a little bit of research on it. It's just like the BN2, a bit more powerful, a bit longer legs on it. But should be very, very exciting. I actually really do like the BN2. I don't do many videos on it. I actually haven't done a video on it in a very long time, but I've been dabbling in it here and there, and it's a fun little aircraft. If you guys don't have the BN2, I do recommend it. There's already a release of this aircraft available, or not this particular aircraft, excuse me, the twin engine. But it is a ton of fun, absolutely a ton of fun, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with next. So if this is truly the Trilander that we can expect heading down our way, I think it's going to be an absolutely great time. So it is so exciting to see more and more aircraft finally starting to roll out. I feel like we sort of hit like a brick wall with some of the more higher fidelity aircraft. So it's kind of really cool to see all of these starting to stack up on top of each other. And finally, the big bang of the story for today. I'm sure many of you have already seen it all over YouTube. Like I said, I don't do many of these very often, but I'm absolutely going to include this because it has hit beta, and that is the PMDG 737 from Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, there is a link to the video down in the description below. You can find it on this website here as well from FS Elite. It's totally blown away. Now, here's the thing. What I have not been able to find, I haven't been able to find anything that gives us what to expect as far as price point. I have not been able to find anything as far as a price point for this PMDG 737. However, once again, when it comes to PMDG, you can bet my money is going to be fairly steep. I'm not going to label any numbers yet. I don't feel confident enough to do that. But I'm willing to bet the price is going to be up there a bit, if you catch my drift. But I will say that when it comes to PMDG aircraft, I will absolutely be buying it, no matter what the price is. I mean, they do have to go pretty astronomical for me to decline that. Their aircraft has always been just top-notch, tip-top. You can't really ask for more. The flight models, from the system modeling to the features available for it, both internal and external, both from a simulation and just a, neat features, to throw in to make the immersion maybe a little bit better. PMDG is always on point when it comes to this kind of stuff, so you really can't discredit their aircraft when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I am absolutely super excited to check this out, guys, and here's a little bit of that footage while we sit here and chat. The PMDG 737 for P3D, I can speak on the behalf of that aircraft for maybe some of you who haven't. For prepared 3D or prepared version 3, I think it was, or version 4, I can't remember where we're at now. I haven't been on it in a while, but I have the PMDG 737 NG, I think it was. So it's an older version of the 737. However, it was absolutely fantastic. You really, really do get your money's worth when it comes to their products. They dive very, very deep into the systems. They dive very, very deep into modeling, both texture and flight modeling, system modeling, everything from lights to cargo to passengers to views, you name it. PMDG dives very, very deep into it. I have always been impressed with their products. I have the Queen of the Sky 747. I have their 777 extended range. And I have loved every single product they have put out. I have the PMDG DC-6. I don't fly it very often, Microsoft Flight Simulator these days, just because there's so much rolling out. I never really dove very deep into it, but I can tell you the few times that I did fly the DC-6, it is another absolutely amazing aircraft. you really have to fight pretty hard to get ahead of PMDG when it comes to quality. So if the 737 is an aircraft that you guys want, if it's an aircraft that you're really interested in learning to fly, much like the Zibo 737 for X-Plane 11, the Zibo 737, for anybody who recognizes that one, again, is an extremely high fidelity. I would dare use the words study level when it comes to the Zibo 737 for X-Plane 11. You can expect that same kind of quality and then a little bit extra on top when it comes to PMDG aircraft. I will say, if budget is an issue, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to give you guys any false hopes here. I would expect triple digits when it comes to PMDG. That's what I am planning for. I am not speculating to price. I am simply saying that I'm going to plan on triple digit price point starting with the number 1. Okay, and maybe a bit higher. That's what I will say. You guys take that from here, but that is my personal planning point. I am not speculating to the cost. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Anyways, so guys, I really hope that you have enjoyed this news. If you guys want me to continue with this, by all means, let me know in the comments below. Again, I just try not to flood the market with, or the channels with information that's out there by so many other people who are doing a fantastic job. Like I said, I do recommend, please check out Pilot Stud's YouTube video. He does an absolutely wonderful job with keeping up on news. Really stellar. I mean, I use him myself for a lot of staying up to date. And anyway, make sure you guys check them out. Let me know what you think of the video down in the comments below. Let me know what your speculations are and what your thoughts are on the aircraft to come. Which one of these is going to be your favorite that you want to hunt down with like a shark fin in the water? And as always, guys, stay safe and healthy. I'll see you in the next one.